Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Chopra. Our top focus right now is how Bollywood actor Yami Gautam's film Article 370 has been banned in Gulf countries, despite the Gulf nations having considerable number of Indians. The movie, as the name suggests, is based on the backdrop of social and political situations in Kashmir around the abrogation of Article 370, the special status, remember, that was given to Jammu and Kashmir earlier. This is not, of course, the first movie based on Kashmir to have been banned in Gulf nations. Earlier, the Kashmir Files, and even more recently, a film by starring Hrithik Roshan, Fighter, was also banned there. Despite Indian population and fan following, movies regarding Kashmir's do not find a place in Gulf nations, and they do in fact continue to turn a blind eye to the progress that is being made in Kashmir. This is even after Dubai's Emaar investing in the development of Kashmir. Emaar Properties is going to construct a 10 lakh square feet mall in Srinagar, making this the first foreign direct investment in the valley. While the inciters in the valley have been put in jail and the government is now taking up several developmental initiatives, the question really is, why exactly are Gulf countries still bothered by what's happening in Kashmir, by movies that are made on Kashmir, when the whole world's outlook and Kashmir's outlook has changed? We take this conversation forward with Dr. Ramesh Raina, Kashmiri Pandit, with us, Major Dhruv Katoch with us, also with us on the broadcast. I have with me Sumit Peer with me as well. Let me begin this conversation. Ambassador Suresh Goyal also with us. Let me begin this conversation, if I can, with Sumit. Sumit, why do you feel that several of the Gulf nations continue to still focus on banning movies that are based on Kashmir? Why is it exactly that they continue to turn a blind eye, even though Jammu Kashmir itself has moved on, India has moved on, the people have moved on? We do discuss a considerable amount of time on the progress that is being made on all the new developmental projects that are coming up, but why ban certain films that are based on Kashmir?
Devika ji, thanks for having me on your show. Well, it is a hypocrisy of first order, because all these movies, somehow, General Katoch is on the panel and he has served there. He will tell you they depict the fact, they depict the truth. Now, there is a very perennial hypocrisy there wherein they want to support the developmental initiatives because it's the stature of India, it's the diplomacy, it's the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, it's the big market India is. But at the same time, when it comes to religious issues, when it is 370, they want to keep away. Kashmir Files or Fighter or 370 talk about the smug, talk about the muck which was hiding in the system, which got cleaned, and how Kashmir was liberated. But people like OIC and all, it doesn't suit their religious political agendas. So pictures like that get banned. And if you travel in Etihad, you travel in Etisalat, travel in Etihad, you travel in Emirates, you travel in Qatar Airlines, you will see none of those pictures of typical American pictures where they are seeing any action against Afghanistan. So if there's a movie, if there's an epic if there's a theater where jihad and jihadis are hit, somewhere that they don't find mention in these of airlines. I've traveled extensively all these airlines. You will not even find one such picture there. But when it comes to doing trade, when it comes to making money, when it comes to be politically correct, they will align. But when it comes to showing the reality, they don't want to show the reality. It's like that. I like you, I like your money, but I don't like your history. I like you, I like your money, but I don't like your reality. I like you, I like your money, but I don't like, what has been done in your home. So let's keep behind the carpet. Technically, practically speaking, if you're not scared, if you're not ashamed, why are you banning a movie? What is wrong in Kashmir Files or 370 or Fighter? It exactly talks what happened. So what they are ashamed, what they are trying to hide, and why they are trying to, find a fig leaf for banning the movies, I do not understand. And if they are banning these movies, you are banning all Hollywood movies. I mean, if you look at this, Osama was taken out. I remember the movie, that is not there. If you look at a Hurt Locker, you will not find a Hurt Locker in any of these airlines. So there are numerous such movies which I have found in any of the airlines. This talks about how fragile these systems are, how weak this political system is, how much less flexible they are to the idea of, political Islam. these are all manifestations of political Islam. So political Islam does not allow you to do it. Economics of Islam wants you to do it. Politics wants you to align with India. But when it's political Islam, no, let's not show the movie. नहीं, नहीं, ऐसा कुछ हुआ ही नहीं था. This part of history is not done. This is untrue. This never happened. So this talks about the blatant hypocrisy, and it's good, Devika ji, you and NewsX has brought it up so that these things should be also discussed. Why are you scared when you're building malls? You're making money. You're building food parks. You're going to make money. Building solar parks. You're going to make money. You're going to mint money. So it's like when the UK Suha Braverman was telling me, I like India. I like to do the FTA with India, but I will not do the migration pact. So, मतलब आप पसंद आपका पैसा पसंद आपसे नफरत it's a typical hypocrisy which happens there, but in due course of time I think it will go. It's the rising stature of India, and today let me tell you, it's the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, it's the Indian market and Indian diplomacy, where that how the Middle East tides are turning. We are the growing star. We have next 70 to 100 years with us. If you look at their socio-economic models, most of them there will not be there after 10, 15 years. I'm telling you with a lot of conviction. If there's a debate someday, I can give you all the data points to substantiate it. So this change is initiated by compulsion, not by option.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Ambassador Goyal as well. Ambassador Goyal, what do you make then of these bans? As Sumit was also pointing out that there are several nations, we've just held the G20 in Srinagar, which was very successful, one of the events. And then, of course, there has been delegations of UAE coming in to look at Kashmir, to look at the investment opportunities there. Despite all of that, we once again go back to, in a way, targeting soft power, which is something that a lot of countries do via movies, that you want to spread across a particular sort of message. So what is this problem that Gulf nations continue to perhaps have with an exercise of soft power through a movie like Article 370?
Devika, I have not seen Article 370 so far, and therefore I cannot personally speak on the basis of the content of the movies. I can speak only on the basis of how the movies should be censored or not censored, banned or not banned, etc., etc. I have a slightly different view on that, really. Number one, before me, Sumit P said religious issue. I don't think that, first of all, Kashmir for us is a matter of religion. Kashmir is a matter of integrity of India. Kashmir, whether it is Hindu, Jammu is Hindu, or Kashmir Valley is Muslim, or whatever the religious denominations there are, Kashmir is part of India. Article 370 was instituted in the Constitution under very special circumstances. The current parliament chose to remove it. Their choice, they voted in favor of it. It has been amended to make it ineffective, entirely different matter. Where the movie was made, whether the movie actually depicts facts or things, a movie is always an interpretation of facts on the ground. Just like history is an interpretation, a movie actually looks at the facts on the ground and gives a picture as seen by the producer or the director. We may agree with it, we may not agree with it, entirely different matter. When in a conversation, when I'm speaking, Sumit Pir may agree with me, Major General Dhruv Katoch may agree with me or not agree with me. Entirely different matter, but I am entitled to my point of view, just as others are entitled to their point of view. If, because I don't like the other point of view and therefore I choose not to let them enter into my house, my loss. But it is my decision. Others cannot question me why I chose not to let somebody enter into my house or why I'm behaving the way I'm. It's my behavior. Criticize whatever it is, but that is my behavior. India has banned movies, and I can question why India banned those movies or documentaries, large number of them. I don't even need to go into the list. UAE allowed the movie earlier. UAE is investing in Jammu and Kashmir, clearly indicating that it is not a question of Kashmir for them. India has excellent relations with Gulf, and they're growing. Not just energy, not just diaspora, politically strategic. MEC passes through Gulf. India is part of it. I2U2 is there. Israel is improving relations with practically every country in the Gulf. In fact, there is a speculation that attack by Hamas had the impact of actually interrupting or disrupting that growth in the relation. So I think what we need to look at now really is not look into small these
Okay.
aberrations or the peaks, but what we need to look at is the overall growth in the relations, the overall nature, and then go from there. As far as the Bollywood impact on the earning is concerned, let me tell you, Devika, I've seen it many times. When you actually ban a movie, you are increasing the market price of the movie. Many producers and directors, it is alleged that they want the movie to be banned, or rumors spread that it is heavily censored, because then it suddenly increases, hikes up the price, the
Right.
value at which you can buy it. We have all done that in the past. So I'm not at all worried about the loss to Bollywood. They will recoup their money. The movie will be seen by all those Indians in the Gulf. They will not miss it. Uh, the Gulf countries, they've chosen to take an action, their choice. I will look at the relationship between India and Gulf in a much larger format and not get persuaded by a small blip.
Okay.
Devika.
Major and Dhruv Katoch, your thoughts on the same as well. Yes, Ambassador Goyal is absolutely right that what a country decides to do, what movies they want to show, which ones they don't want to show is absolutely their prerogative, and that's correct. When a Kuwait or for example, even when a Qatar bans a movie like Article 370, there could be a reasonable explanation that one can give, that the Qataris have not necessarily always been really backing India. We've seen that change in the past. We've seen that change with the release of the naval officers and a big step that relations have taken between India and Qatar. But historically speaking, one can say that they have always been quite tilted in the favor of Pakistan. But when nations like Saudi or the UAE that are heavily investing in India, Saudi Arabia wants to come and plaster all of its posters all across IPL. The UAE wants to make sure that its delegation is photographed in Kashmir, that announcements are made of investment in Kashmir. When you yourself are doing that, then why exactly would you want to ban a movie? What impact could the movie possibly have? Is there still a worry that it could somewhere distort a narrative around Kashmir?
Thank you, Devika. Devika, let us look at this particular issue outside the ambit of Kashmir. Now, I have seen the Kashmir Files. I thought it was a very well-made movie, very frankly. If at all, I thought they have underplayed what actually happened. I've seen the other movie also. Now, the Article 370. I haven't seen Fighter, which I believe has also been banned. Now, we are looking at it, I think, we're from the prism of India as to why they have banned it, and we are looking at some relationship with Kashmir. Let us reverse the lens. Let us look at it from the point of view of those particular rulers. Now, in their viewpoint, if there is anything which could raise passions in their Muslim population, I think they would be a bit chary about that. You see, let us remember they're all kingdoms, and they are prone to an uprising, the Arabs, something like an Arab Spring happening. And they don't want anything like that to happen. I think I would like to view it from that point of view, that here we have got these rulers. A movie is a small thing. Okay, let us ban it. Let us not create any potential trouble. I'm not saying it's going to create trouble. There is some chance of a potential trouble. The rulers will say, okay, let us stop this movie. We have got enough going with India. And the relationship between India and the Arab world has improved phenomenally over the last decade.
Precisely.
So
Yes.
I really wouldn't like to view it on that lens. I think there is a concern in the leadership of some of these Gulf countries of a possible reaction against the government on movies which, for whatever reason, where they feel that the public may actually react in a violent manner. Now, I want to give one example. You see what happened when the Hamas attacked Israel, which was a very brutal attack and which was condemnable by any standards. Now, the Arab world, the leadership realized that what Hamas has done is wrong, but they kept quiet. For this specific fear, what will the public say? So they kept quiet. I think they're keeping, they would like to sit on the chair for as long as possible. I will give a similar analogy with India. whichever political party is there, they won't like to disturb the political environment so long as they are in the chair. Anything which can rake up a controversy, they would best like to avoid it. This has the potential of raking up a controversy. Very frankly, if you see the movie, there's no controversy. But most of the people who raise controversies don't see the film. That's the problem. So and please remember, it is not being released in the theaters. But anybody who wants to see the movie in the digital format, well, his television is there in the house, he can see it. There is not a problem. So I think if I look at it from a different point of view, from the lens of the leadership of those respective countries, I get a different picture. And my picture is that perhaps they don't want to create a dissonance where good relations exist between India and the Arab world. Devika.
Interesting. I'm going to bring in Mr. Raina into the conversation as well. Mr. Raina, same question to you. I'd just like to understand, I'm sure you've heard what the good ambassador as well as Major Dhruv Katoch have had to say on the matter. Is it then interesting to note that there is still a possibility of some sort of a dissonance or some sort of a reaction still around Kashmir in the Gulf nations that could possibly keep their leaders from, like I said, keeping their populations from consuming a movie? Is that still a possibility today, that despite all of us feeling as though we have moved on, and we truly have in India, it's no longer, Kashmir is no longer even being discussed at the United Nations. There was a time when Kashmir was equated with Palestine. That's not happening today, and it's not happened for a very long time now. But is there still a possibility that keeps leaders of these nations a little bit worried when any sort of soft power, movies like Article 370 are released?
Well, I think slightly differently on this issue. We have to understand Gulf is an important member of OIC. And OIC is largely influenced by the Pakistan. If you remember, when Article 370 was removed in 2019, OIC was in disagreement. OIC did not agree to Indian government's removal of Article 370. When films like Article 370 have been banned, it has its resonance in OIC. Please remember that there are still India baiters everywhere, be that Europe or be that Gulf or be that Islamic countries. And I believe that religion is at the center of this entire banning of the movie, because the Muslim Ummah never accepted the removal of Article 370 from Kashmir. When we talk of Muslim Ummah means brotherhood. That means a Muslim anywhere and everywhere in the world feels that Kashmir ought to have been part of Pakistan and ought not have been part of India. And that is at the root of the entire thing. Please remember, movies like Kashmir Files had to pass through a tough time. Remembering that the same movie was filmed in the UK Parliament, remembering that though the movie was made in India, yet it turned out to be a global movie despite all odds. Because you cannot hide the facts for a long time. See, what happens in Article 370 and why is it removed is that politics and religion is being mixed and there is a stifling of culture. Otherwise, just tell me, there's a booming Indian tourist industry there and the people are very fond of Indian Bollywood movies. Who would take such a step to ban this movie, realizing that their tourism industry might get affected with such moves? See what happened to Muizu. See what happened to Maldives when those ministers made uncharacteristic and uncharitable remarks against our honorable Prime Minister. What happened next? Their tourism industry got badly not impacted, but shaken, not only shaken. And to the extent, the reports that we get through media and other social platforms is that Maldives is passing through a very, very tough stage. And as we understand, probably the track to diplomacy with India is on requesting India to get to their help. See, all those things, whenever, whatever, even if somebody sneezes here, the Gulf countries catch chill. For example, the consecration of Ayodhya, Ram Temple. See what have been the debates of Muslim authors. See what have been the debates going on in Muslim countries about the demolition of so-called Babri Masjid. Whatever has been happening in India has become a talk in the Islamic world and the Islamic countries. Therefore, Article 370 is only an extension of what they feel that the injustice has been done to Kashmiri Muslims. Well, we need to be very firm because India is not what it used to be 10 years back. India is not today what it used to be 20 years back. India, after all, is India. India is a dynamic nation. Not only the dynamic nation, India is an emerging power which is balancing between Europe and other countries. Imagine UAE is investing almost 30 to 40,000 crores in Kashmir. That is the power of India. Therefore, these small bans will not affect India, but in turn, it is going to affect their entertainment industry in a big, big way. See, Pakistan also was passing through this malaise of banning Indian movies in their country. But the public force was such a thing, they gradually started taking back foot. You see,
Right.
if Pakistan weekends would start with watching Bollywood movies. There were two things common in them. One, to enjoy coffee, and another to enjoy Bollywood movies. And 2008, there was ban. And later on, now see, they are on the back foot, and they are trying to ensure that Bollywood movie goes and people watch them and keep them away from the domestic trouble, whatever they have. Therefore, my understanding is that it is the OIC resolution, it is the religious politics that is at display, and that is what has weighed in the rulers' minds, and that's why they have banned it. Otherwise, tell me, few people, how can they understand the cinematic ethics and cinematic enjoyment? Few people sitting in the chairs say, no, our people will be unhappy at watching this movie, therefore we ban it. Why don't you leave it to the people? Why don't you see, we remember when there was about Kashmir files, when the person from Israel was the chief of the jury, when he had made uncharitable remarks, and therefore he had to make a public apology, not only from Israel, but Israel government made an apology to the government of India regarding these remarks.
Right.
Therefore, we need to understand that our Bollywood movies are probably second to none. In fact, I think they have probably bypassed Hollywood also in its content making, in its reach. But here, one thing is very important. The global entertainment industry is this time predominantly seen in terms of what India makes, both in India and in South.
Yes.
Therefore, the global industry has to look in its entirety, not from the perspective of Article 370 banning, or even for that matter, Tiger was banned of Salman Khan. Even there was a movie which Hrithik Roshan, Fighter, that was banned. What was the pretext? The pretext was that it has some bad scenes.
Yes.
Therefore, we have to take this entire situation into view and understand its pros and cons. It is not our loss. It is their loss. That is what I want to say.
Okay, all right. I'm going to bring back Major General Dhruv Katoch into the conversation. Major General Dhruv Katoch, just taking this thought of Mr. Ramesh Raina's forward, I just want to understand from you. Like I said, at the end of the day, we cannot force a nation to show any movie. It is, at the end of the day, that country's prerogative. But is there then anything that perhaps needs to be done in the sense that countries that have now proven to be very closely associated with India, like a Saudi or a UAE, for them to perhaps feel a sense of comfort when a movie around the subject of Kashmir comes out? Is there anything that has to be done from, say, by India to perhaps bring in the next level of understanding with these nations, that you no longer have to fear any cinema around Kashmir either?
Devika, very frankly, I do not think it is about Kashmir at all. It is about Muslims. You see, and their leadership. The leadership fears that their Muslim population which has been, mollycoddled over the years, if they have an uprising against the leadership, then the Shaikh will lose his Shaikhdom. Ultimately, it is a question of, the chair. And I think that is the central point. Now, if there is any other, let us say there's a movie made on Kerala on similar lines, right? We make the Kerala files, say, or we make the Bengal files. And again, it has something to do with the Muslims. You will find that the Gulf will not ban them too. So I don't think it has got any relationship, in my view, to Kashmir as the removal of Article 370 or on the basis of the Kashmir files. They are simply concerned about their own Muslim population getting against their leadership.
Okay.
And they say, okay, it's a small issue. Why take a chance? You see, I'm quite certain the ambassador may bear me out. In diplomatic channels, they are just told the Indians that, listen, it's a small issue. We've got our local concerns. I don't think they've got nation-to-nation concerns. I think here the concerns are local within their population, not within India's population. So when you look at it from that angle, I think it's okay. They banned it. People are still going to see it on the digital format on the televisions, should they wish to see so. But I have a feeling that the people who weren't going to see the movie will now see it on the TV. I've got no doubt that that's the way it goes.
Okay, I'm going to leave the last word with Sumit and Master Goel. Just 30 seconds. Master Goel, I just want to understand from you, as Major Dhruv Katoch also pointed out, that it is probably a very localized fear of how the population may react to what is being shown in the film. Does that then point out to the fact that there continues to be Kashmir as a topic of obsession?
Devika, let me put it this way. It is Kashmir does, do remember that OIC is based in that area. The Islamic sentiments are predominant there. Do you recall the huge furor that came up in Gulf when the publication of the cartoon on Muhammad in the French paper? You remember that?
Yes.
Therefore, these kind of issues can raise furor. And I don't think it is simply Kashmir or anything at all, but simply the thing is that there is something, and there is a lot in what Major General Dhruv Katoch has said. So why take a chance on this thing? It is not going to be impacting on the relationship at all. And therefore, I would simply say, let us just leave it there. Let it be. Those who want to see the movie, they will see the movie.
Okay.
Those who don't want to see the movie, they will not see the movie. That's the end of it, really.
Okay. Leaving the last word with Sumit.
You see, Devika ji, I'm very clear and I'm not politically correct. Whenever there's an issue vis-a-vis Islam, the whole of Middle East will be sensitive. They will ban an Indian movie. They will ban an American movie. I've told you all these airlines. They will not show any movie where a jihadi camp is busted, where Americans go and beat the shit out of jihadis in, Afghanistan. They will not show how Osama was taken out. They will not show any of these movies because they don't want that religious thing to come up. When it comes to economics of the thing, they're okay. When it comes to the politics of the thing, they're okay. But when religion and economic mixes, then there's a matrix which is drawn. Whatever fits in that matrix gets through. Whatever does not fix in that matrix, that will go through. If you are Kerala files, Bengal files, Kashmir files, Fighter, Tiger, jo bhi aap bole, if it does not go through that matrix, they will just conveniently keep it out because the people are still simmering and they don't want the people to know the truth. Kashmir files is the nearest you can get to the truth, and 370 is based on all that. I've seen both the movies. That's what I'm telling you. It's based on the truth. So they don't want this truth to be exposed. They don't want this facade to go. They don't want this canard to be shattered in the public eye. तो कहता जब तक पर्दा है, बंद मुट्ठी लाख की खुल जाए तो खाक की. It's as simple as that.
Right. Okay. All right. I thank all of our panelists for joining us to take this very interesting conversation forward. That's all the time that we have.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.